In a small secluded village called Nyumbani, there was a tradition as old as the hills. When someone passed away, their coffin was carried through the streets to the cemetery with great reverence. But one stormy season, something strange happened. A coffin began to move on its own, defying the hands of its bearers and the will of the living. What followed was a chilling tale of vengeance, curses, and redemption. Prepare yourself for the story of the moving coffin. Akoko was a wealthy but cruel man who ruled the village with an iron fist. He cheated the poor, mistreated his servants, and cursed anyone who dared cross him. Despite his riches, Akoko was a lonely man. His greed and malice had driven away everyone who cared for him. When he died unexpectedly, the village let out a collective sigh of relief. The elders decided to give him a proper burial, fearing that leaving him unburied would bring bad luck to the village. On the day of the funeral, dark clouds loomed overhead. The villagers gathered reluctantly, murmuring prayers to keep Akoko's malevolent spirit at bay. His coffin was sealed and placed on the shoulders of 6 strong men, who began the journey to the cemetery. But as they neared the gates of the graveyard, something strange happened. The coffin grew heavier, almost unbearable. The pallbearers stumbled and nearly dropped it. Suddenly, the coffin began to shake violently. The villagers gasped and backed away as the coffin twisted and turned, wrenching itself free from the pallbearer's grip. It fell to the ground with a loud thud, but instead of stopping, it began to move on its own, dragging itself toward the cemetery. Terrified, the villagers watched as the coffin scraped and slid over the dirt path. Some ran to fetch the elders, while others followed cautiously, their curiosity overriding their fear. The coffin moved with purpose, as though it were alive. It took sharp turns, sometimes doubling back, as if searching for something or someone. The whispers began. The spirit is not at peace. The elders arrived, beads of sweat on their foreheads despite the cool, stormy breeze. They chanted prayers, sprinkling holy water on the coffin, but it only moved faster, heading directly for Akoko's mansion. The coffin crashed through the gates of Akoko's compound, stopping abruptly at a large baobab tree in the yard. The villagers and elders stood frozen as a loud crack echoed through the air. The ground beneath the tree split open, revealing a shallow grave filled with bones and rotting items. An elder stepped forward and gasped. These are the remains of Akoko's victims, those he wronged, those who disappeared. Their spirits have been crying for justice. The villagers were horrified. Akoko had been more than just a cruel man. He was a murderer. The coffin trembled one last time before bursting open, revealing Akoko's body. His face was contorted in terror, as if he had seen the spirits of his victims in his final moments. The elders quickly gathered the bones and held a cleansing ceremony. They burned sage, chanted prayers, and asked for forgiveness on behalf of the village. Akoko's body was reburied far from the village, in an unmarked grave, while the spirits of his victims were given a proper burial under the baobab tree. After the ceremony, the village returned to peace. But the story of the moving coffin became a legend, passed down through generations as a warning. The dead will not rest until justice is done. And so, the moving coffin of Akoko became a tale etched into the history of Nyumbani, a reminder that no deed, good or evil, goes unnoticed. What do you think? Was it justice, karma, or something beyond our understanding? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling tales.